Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimur Shamil. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Khwaja Asif, on his visit to the United States, met his counterpart, Mr. Tillerson, and both agreed that Pakistan and the United States would work for peace and stability in the region. Also, Khwaja Asif on his US visit has made statements that have been well received inside Pakistan and in many circles in Washington and the United States as well. Khwaja Asif has said that Pakistan is looking forward to collaborate and work with the United States to bring peace and stability inside Afghanistan. But at the same time, Pakistan would not become scapegoat for any country. We won't fight the Afghan war on our soil. And also that there are safe havens inside Afghanistan. The militants and the terrorists are operating inside Afghanistan. Terrorist organizations like Jamaatul Ahrar, TTP, Al-Qaeda, and the most notorious terrorist organization, Daesh, is operating inside Afghanistan. 40% of the Afghan land is still under the Taliban control. So when we talk about the safe havens and harboring terrorists, it's not Pakistan, rather it's Afghanistan where they have their safe havens. This is very mathematical, very straightforward, that 40% of land is under the control of Taliban in Afghanistan. So where are the terrorists then? In Afghanistan, obviously. So Pakistan has brought up this issue that Pakistan stands for peace, and Pakistan is also working on China-Pakistan economic corridor. And this is very important, that CPEC is important for Pakistan, CPEC is also important for China. This is a mega economic activity, and for this as well, we would fight the terrorists, all the terrorists, any individual or group that is there to sabotage peace and stability, that is there to sabotage China-Pakistan economic corridor. This is very important. There are a few things that are contradictory when it comes to the United States. Mr. Tillerson and Khwaja Asif said that they would work together mutually to defeat terrorism and extremism. General James Mattis, United States Secretary of Defense, has said that China-Pakistan economic corridor passes through disputed territory. This rhetoric is very familiar to Pakistan. That is because this rhetoric is the same words are used by the BJP government. Same words are used by the Indian authorities as well. They don't accept China-Pakistan economic corridor because they think that the territory is disputed. The thing is that this is all settled now. Gilgit-Baltistan are a part of Pakistan, and we are working on this mega economic activity. Activity is going to bring peace and stability, first of all. So this is nothing that would bring adverse, let's say, and negative impact on the region. So why these different statements from the US officials? Mr. Tillerson is saying something else. Mr. James Mattis is saying something else. Khwaja Asif and our Prime Minister, Mr. Abbasi, also made this point very clear that Pakistan would not become scapegoat for any country. We'll talk about regional security, our foreign policy, our future relations with the United States, and also the Indian hegemony in the region in today's program, and the unfolding situation that would be in the future. For that, we have our guest in the studios, Mr. Ahsan Bashir. He's a senior defense analyst and specializes on Afghanistan, Pakistan security matters, and also on counterterrorism as well. Welcome to the program, Mr. Ahsan Bashir. Mr. Yasir Masood is an expert on foreign policy and also on the Afghan matters and Pakistan's relations with the United States. So, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Mr. Ahsan Bashir, starting with Khwaja Asif's visit to the United States. Both his counterpart, Mr. Tillerson, they met and they made very amicable, I would say, good statements that Pakistan and the United States would work together for peace and stability inside Afghanistan, and also that Pakistan is a reliable ally. Both have been working for a long time in Afghanistan, and they would work in the future as well. But another statement by Mr. James Mattis, the Secretary of Defense, US Secretary of Defense, he says that the CPEC passes through disputed territory. Now, this statement obviously has raised many questions inside Pakistan, many circles inside Pakistan, experts who are looking at Pakistan and US relations. Mr. Tillerson is saying something else, Mr. James Mattis is saying something else. Do you see any contradiction between the statements? How do you see these two statements?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, Taimur, for asking one of the most brilliant questions. And the matter of once we talk about Kashmir issue, once we talk about Afghanistan, once we talk about trio, once we talk about the region, the kind of regional environment which is going on, the realignment of the countries and what realignment is going on in Kashmir, in this region. This is very, very important. One thing is you must notice in this is very encouraging also for Pakistan that, that Pakistan has been able to tell the people that yes, there is a place in this region between India and Pakistan which is still not decided, where we are still trying to, and the right of self-determination to those innocent people fighting for such a long for their right is still pending. So they have realized that, and that is why they say the other important aspect in the same is that they have also realized the importance of the China-Pakistan economic corridor and this OBOR, the perception of the game changer and this what is given by the Chinese in this region is again recognized by their statements. Though their statements are contradictory, their statements shows that they are trying to put again Pakistan at a check and again counter that. But then at the same time, this is again a very good omen at the same time that yes, they recognize that now coming to this
two different statements, right?
Two different statements, yes. These two individuals' statements are also part of the any democratic country for that matter, kind of US, which has got their own state, this is their own perception of a particular event or a particular going whatever is happening. One is trying to say something which is you very rightly mentioned that this is a statement which is like a pro, someone else's India's statement.
Because earlier, the United States and the Trump administration, they have been saying that they accept China-Pakistan economic corridor and rather they would facilitate. But now things have changed. Why?
See, the things have, it is required to be changed, and they will be changed. You will see even further improvement. I am very optimistic in saying that Pakistan, alhamdulillah, after such a, brave war which Pakistan has fought, has brought these, countries at that level, and no country less than United States of America, for that matter, to say and to recognize that, yes, Pakistan has given a lot of sacrifices, but then there is always, needs to do something according to them. So the contradiction did come in because of the reason, very obvious reason is that China's presence in this region and the kind of China's change which has brought by China in this region is disturbing their economy.
Let me bring up this point of OBOR, Mr. Yasser. They also criticized OBOR, and their point of view is that they see some hegemonic overtone in OBOR. They see that China is using OBOR to have influence in South Asia. Now, One Belt, One Road, Pakistan is a member of One Belt, One Road. We are a member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. One Belt, One Road is going to link all the countries and have a better economic system. We are going to be interdependent economically and financially. We are going to work together on security. That shouldn't be of any concern to, let's say, United States or American friends for that matter. So why this apprehension in those circles of Washington?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Taimur, yes, it's a very pertinent and a very particular question, especially when we see the whole world through the prism of development and disintegration and the wars and all that. So in that context, the very first thing which comes in our mind that why US is so much concerned about the whole OBOR concept, because we know that OBOR is going to connect 67 plus countries in the whole world, which is more than half of the world. And then OBOR up till now, if we turn the clock back to history as well, that it is a revival of Silk Route. And I would give you an example that Silk Route has given so much to the whole world. There was one scientist, Ibn Sina, who was living near the Silk Route. His one book was read in the Europe, the book of medicine, in the Europe for more than 500 years. So this is the legacy of Silk Route.
Right.
And even at that time, China was never had been a threat to any of the country.
So don't
China
you think
has
that
never designed any hegemonic
So if we are interdependent, this is rather good, that we would be having a more peaceful, let's say, region, more peaceful South Asia, Europe for that matter, and Central Asia.
Well, you see, the quintessence of OBOR is that they are going to bridge neighbors and near neighbors and then neighbors. So it is a sort of a multiplying effect of prosperity, of peace and stability and economic ascendance. So, and then why US is so much concerned? Because this is against their practical norms of zero-sum game, which they have adopted over the years. Like your loss is my win, and that's what China is opposing through OBOR. Here, China is looking for win-win cooperation, that you win and we win. China is looking for prosperity in the whole region. It's not about one country. And now, by this statement, I can tell you that yes, CPEC is a game changer. We should be happy about this concept, that why US is now giving a typical Indianized concept of CPEC, or they are apprehended because of that. But we should be more concerned and happy about it. We should be more contented about it, that CPEC is a humongous project. It is going to change the destiny of not only Pakistan, but the whole region. And let me tell you one more thing, that Pakistan was considered or was labeled as a security state. Now Pakistan is shifting and changing its perception from a security state to a more vibrant economy. So, and that will open the corridors of, more development for Pakistan.
This very point of security state and the security issue, I'll talk about the security issue first. And the security issue is that Khwaja Asif made this very excellent point while he was, I think, discussing this issue at this point with the Asia Society and USIP as well. He said that after the Soviet-Afghan war, United States left the region, and we were the people. We were facing music and whatever was going on in Afghanistan. So we were directly affected by what happened in Afghanistan. Security is a problem, security was a problem, and we have been working on it in a very, I would say, excellent way. We have eliminated so many terrorist organizations. But this what Mr. Tillerson and Khwaja Asif have, they made statements that both are going to work together. Mr. James Mattis has said that they don't accept China-Pakistan economic corridor. My point is that his statement, and these kind of statements have a very negative impact on the Pakistan and US relations as well. Many people in Pakistan think that this is something more or less the same that India is saying. And now, Indian TV channels, I'm sure, would be running so many programs on this, and their newspapers would be covering it, and their politicians would also make you and cry about it, that look, General James Mattis has also said that they don't accept China-Pakistan economic corridor. My question is that if we are allies, if we are fighting terrorism together, don't you think that such kind of statements would hamper development in the future?
Well, Taimur, I would say that no. The development will not be hampered. Well, we need to see that
development between Pakistan and US.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that needs to be bridged, and that is what is coming up. But then at the same time, we need to also see that why America is giving such kind of statement. America never wants to have anyone challenging its economy in the world. And China-Pakistan economic corridor, the kind of this concept, and as everyone knows very well, the concept of this entire world is going to change. It is going to benefit China and going to be one of the strongest economies of the world. So that definitely perturbs America in this region, because what else is a concern for America to be present in this region and check whom? There's only one check, and the check is, if you put all these dices on a checkboard, just see what is all happening here in this region. It's very, very clear that yes, everyone, the Americans especially, they want to check Chinese growth in this region, and not only in this region, but beyond this region also, and that is fearing them. But, and in Pakistan,
China
definitely
China and United States, they also have, I would say, billions of dollars of trade. If we are having trade with China, if the regional countries are having trade with China, what's wrong in that?
Yes, absolutely. That is what I was coming to, that it should not be bothering them. It should not. Rather, I would say the Americans need to change their stance. They need to see it. The world is improving. The security situation is getting better and better. The Pakistan and India relations should also get better. And someone should try to make sure that these relations should get better, because this is not only in the interest of India or Pakistan for that matter. India-Pakistan relations improvement means regional betterment. Regional betterment means the world becomes more safer a place, for which Pakistan also has given such sacrifices, and they all recognize it. So America definitely very well knows it. Peaceful Afghanistan, better relations, India-Pakistan relations, China going on the kind of obor is win-win situation in this region.
And this is an opportunity, Mr. Yasser, for Pakistan and India, as Mr. Hassan said, and also for Afghanistan as well, for United States as well, China-Pakistan economic corridor. How? The thing is that if we are working on a mega economic activity, we can bring peace and stability in Afghanistan. America can pull our troops. And since they have been pumping in so much money of American taxpayer in Afghanistan, they can save on that money. And they can put it to some better use in the United States. Pakistan, we can do away with the security situation in Afghanistan. We can be more peaceful, obviously, and then we can have China-Pakistan economic corridor, mega economic activity. And then also leave, we can ask the Kashmiris, they can decide for themselves that what they want in the region, as what Mr. Hassan Bashir was saying. So we can resolve a lot of disputes in the region through China-Pakistan economic corridor, through interdependent economy. Do you see it that way?
Taimur, there are two perspectives of your question. One is, yes, we can see through China-Pakistan economic corridor that it is going to solve and resolve multifaceted ills in this region. Because when we talk about China-Pakistan economic corridor, it's not about Pakistan alone, it's about the whole region. And India, for some reason, is adamant not to be part of such a humongous project or economic activity. They might have their own reasons and they might have their own logic. But as far as we are concerned and as far as the other region is concerned, you see, Pakistan can gain a lot, because this is the only way out in today's world order. When we say that, when we talk about multipolar world order, economic activity, economic ascendance, economic accentuation, it works like an anchor role for the peace and stability of any region, and that has been proved in the rest of the world as well. But then I'm talking about another perspective, that why US is so much concerned and India is so much bothering about this economic activity, because probably with the unison of India and US, they might not want any peace and prosperity in this region. And this seems to be one of the reasons, because we don't see any reason of opposition of China-Pakistan economic corridor or of OBOR. Because America, as you just mentioned, that for that matter, they have they have economic agreements with the China. Now, if we do the same, what's the problem? There is no big deal about it.
China is doing the same with Afghanistan, and if we can link with Central Asia, yes. So this is a win-win situation for everybody. Mr. Hassan Bashir, my question, we have two options, development and war. Either we can continue with the development, have a better economic system, have better economies in the region, interdependent economies, or we can continue with the wars that we have been fighting, Afghanistan and United States and Pakistan and other countries in the region for almost like, I would say, 38 years now. So what option is better, development or war?
Well, obviously, see, if I see it from my perspective, the development and not war, and we should not be the war zone, and we should not be a testing ground for everyone to come in and then test all kind of strategies and weapons and what not, and then go away and leave us all like that, beaten in this. So definitely development, but then that development, it goes in the interest of certain other countries or not, needs to be seen.
And just to add to what you're saying, recently, former Afghan president, Mr. Karzai, also said that Afghanistan should not be the testing ground for the arms and ammunition for the United States. Do you think that also Afghanistan and the many political factions in Afghanistan are now realizing that we have to end this war? in Afghanistan?
Absolutely. You have come to the point which I was trying to say, that yes, the world is realizing, not if not the world, at least this region is realizing, less one, and that is India, who is not realizing. And they want to continue with their kind of strategy. They have got their own interest of destabilization, to work against destabilizing Pakistan, with the foreign policy, internally also, with relations to Afghanistan, with relations to even China, for that matter, with relations to US. They don't want Pakistan to be a country, though geographically smaller in size, but much potent, much stronger than such a huge country as India is. The kind of democracy they try to cherish about is what kind of democracy do they have? Do they really have that classical democracy or not? We are smaller, but we are much better than them.
So when we talk about democracy, we also have to see if this democracy is liberal or illiberal. If this is illiberal democracy, where minorities are being attacked every now and then what is the use of such kind of democracy? We have to go for the liberal democracy.
Absolutely.
Something that Pakistan is now excellently working on. We need to have a pluralistic society, and that we can see. Prime Minister also was visiting the Hindu temples. He also celebrated the, Christmas with the Christians, celebrating Eid as
Diwali.
well. So the Pakistan stance and our narrative, the way we are doing it, and the way we have defeated the terrorism is also very interesting. We'll continue our discussion on this point, that Pakistan is working for peace and stability in the region. Senator McCain, along with other senators, a couple of months back, visited Pakistan, and he was taken, and other senators, US senators were taken to Waziristan. And all the senators, US senators, said that they could not even imagine that they would be visiting Waziristan this soon. And this speaks volumes about Pakistan's fight against terrorism and extremism. The way Pakistan has eliminated terrorists and their hideouts in the region, we also expect the same from Afghanistan. We'll continue our discussion on Pakistan-US relations, Pakistan-Afghanistan relations, and the mega economic activity that CPEC is. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. We are discussing Pakistan-US relations and also China-Pakistan economic corridor, this mega economic activity, how this is going to transform the economy in the region and regional economy, South Asia's economy. China is leading the idea. Pakistan is a part of China-Pakistan economic corridor. OBOR is an idea. Shanghai Cooperation Organization is an idea. Recently, Khwaja Asif's visit to China, later to Iran. Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff also visited Afghanistan. And Khwaja Asif now recently is on his visit to the United States. This regional activity is very, I would say, vibrant from Pakistan's side. We have been outreaching our friends in the region. We have been trying to bring peace and stability in Afghanistan. We have been talking to Afghanistan about that. But on the other hand, we see that India is now getting gradually isolated in the region. China wants peace and stability. Pakistan wants peace and stability. Iran, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, all these countries, Central Asia for that matter. Middle East is also looking for now peace and stability. On the other side, we see India now getting away, drifting away from the mega economic activity, drifting away from peace and stability. What is India's design for South Asia, and how India is going to look at this China-Pakistan economic corridor? Recently, Mr. James Mattis, United States Secretary of Defense, he has criticized China-Pakistan economic corridor. So how should we understand this whole activity that is going on in the region? Mr. Yasser, talking about India, in the region, countries in the region, they very much understand the BJP mindset, backed by RSS, backed by Shiv Sena. We can very much imagine what is going on in India. But at the same time, there are a lot of factions, a lot of groups, experts in India who think that this is a golden opportunity for India to join China-Pakistan economic corridor and do away with all those hate-mongering, I would say, factions that are there in India. They can be a part of this mega economic activity, and we can look for peace and stability in the region. Pakistan and India, as Mr. Hassan Bashir was saying, can come closer, and let's talk about peace and not about war. Would India do that?
I think India must do that if they want peace and stability in the region. Now, as far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan has again shown positive overtures towards India regarding CPEC. And China, I would say, has been pleading India that we can tailor and we can, change the directions for CPEC as long as if India wants to be part of CPEC. But you see, this Hindutva mindset is, they have kind of bizarre policies, and that these policies are now exposed to the whole region, I would say to the whole world now, because when any one part or any one country, if it is becoming a thorn for development of the whole region, and that's the India alone now. India is fulfilling that purpose. Now all eyes are set on India, because India is like putting hiccups and putting problems for the regional stability and development. And that's where I think so it's very important for India to understand and grasp this concept that this is in the benefit of India itself. And it's their choice. If they don't want to be part of any economic activity, if they don't want to be part of development, but then it's their choice. The problem is that it should be confined to India alone, but it's not happening. It will have its negative and drastic implications to the whole region. And then eventually all these countries, as you just mentioned, like China is in the favor of peace and stability, Afghanistan as well as other
Iran,
countries,
Sri Lanka, Russia, for that matter.
All the countries in the region, including Russia and including the whole Central Asia now. But if India is adamant and keep on doing such policies and rolling stones in the way of development, I think so all these regional stakeholders, all these regional players would definitely, India would be in a much, I would say that India would be in a difficult situation.
But there is a reason when India is doing all these kind of things. We are opening to the world, Hassan Saab. India is closing the doors on the world because there's a reason. People think that since United States is signing contracts and deals with India, defense deals with India, Trump administration is asking India to spend more money in Afghanistan and take a larger role in Afghanistan. BJP is getting confident day by day. Though this would very adversely affect India. Many Indian experts think that this is going to adversely affect India because this is an illusion to take over Afghanistan. And we all know the situation over there. This illusion, do you think that BJP would get out of this illusion that they can have hegemonic designs in the region through force? Because they're getting confident. We see their aggression on LOC, on working boundary, force and economy. How do you see this?
Well, first we need to understand that who lives in India, who rules India. It's the mindset. It's the Hindu India. The Hindu India cannot afford the Muslims in this region. Number one is this. Then they just want they just want to rule in this region. They want importance to be given to them. And that is what they're thirsty for. Now what is happening is that there are so many compatibles. There are so many competitions in this region also. Like, for example, if people are, I would say they're wrong in their assessment that if America is trying to sign certain contracts with India, at the same time China is signing huge contracts with Pakistan. Russia is signing huge contracts with Pakistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, you name a country in this region, they're signing huge contracts with Pakistan, with Afghanistan, with Turkey for that matter. That means that if someone is under this illusion, or someone thinks or is trying to draw this conclusion that America is trying to sign good contracts with India and is trying to sell bullets to Indians, and tomorrow the Indian people are going to eat only those bullets and they are not worried for their economy to grow, they are just thirsty to buy only the armaments, then they should think of their future. Then I can't really say to them what should you do or what you should not do. I have got no reason to tell them. Let them do what they want to do. We need to see what we do, what we are doing, how we have come up. We have got a very positive role. Pakistan over the period of time has shown the world, this region, that how Pakistan has emerged, how Pakistan has presented itself. We have fought this war of menace of terrorism. We have not fought this war of terrorism only in this region, not only limited to our country. We have fought it much beyond that. The recognitions to our agencies by the so many others, you know, openly saying so that yes, this is such a professional agencies, those who are working, and the army, and for that matter, well, that is good enough for us to be on a side, and we are trying to do what we can do, and we are presenting our case. That is the reason that the world has started to recognize our efforts, and now Pakistan stands much taller than the Hindu India for that matter.
You just mentioned, Mr. Yasser, about the security state. We have been spending so much money to alleviate poverty, to bring peace and stability inside Pakistan. We have been spending on education as well. China-Pakistan economic corridor, we are involved in that because we want better economy. We are spending less on our, comparatively, as compared to India. India is spending so much money on its defense, whereas we see abject poverty in India. People are living below, I would say, the poverty line. People are dying of hunger in India, and they are signing deals with other countries, defense deals with other countries. This point is very, very, I would say, relevant, that what do we want in the region? We want better economy. When we talk about security, do you think that Pakistan also needs to be aware of the security aspects in the region as well? Because there is a country, our neighbors, India, is spending so much money on its defense. They're buying bullets from United States, our friend United States. And then there is Afghanistan, completely in turmoil. So we have a reason when we think that there are security threats. And it is very, I would say, rational for Pakistan. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. It is very rational, and it is the need of the day as well. Because if you see, for any country in the world, it's not about Pakistan alone. It's if any countries in the world, if they're surrounded by enemies, by the neighbors like India, who is spending and you know, increasing its defense budget day by day, then we are not left with any other choice rather to be concerned about our security situation. And then we are fighting a war. We are having threats from the two fronts. One is from Indian side, and then from Afghanistan side. Again, from Afghanistan side, it's India. So basically, from two sides, we are facing India. So yes, we have a very legitimate concern. We have, and that is why this Pakistan up till now, as my senior colleague just mentioned, that world has started recognizing Pakistan's effort and Pakistan's success, that Pakistan has gone through this turmoil and chaos of war on terror. It is now beyond us. But now it is the time for India to think, because it will come back to India as well.
Foreign Minister Khwaja Asif made this point, I would say, very clear. And he was very straightforward in his approach when he said that we would not accept Indian hegemony in the region. And we certainly have apprehensions when US says that they would give a larger role to India in Afghanistan. Do you think that our American friends would realize that what our apprehensions are regarding India?
I think so. It is going to be a big blunder on part of if India is being given such responsibility or being given a role in Afghanistan, because we have already been facing this brunt.
By the way, they have already been given a role over there. They have been operating over there for the last 10 years.
Yes. But then, you know, our position as, you know, we don't want to be a sandwich between India and between Afghanistan, and then US as they are treating us these days. So we will be much more concerned about security situation. You see, the problem is that instead of creating more fuss and problem for Pakistan, US must realize that what Pakistan had been through, and then creating more problem for our security situation is not going to resolve any situation. You know, instead, US should give us a helping hand.
So one point, and that is that the State Department realizes that. The Defense Department, US, they're not realizing it somehow, as we can see from their statements. There's two, I would say, two-sided approach, maybe two different approaches towards Pakistan. Do you see it that way?
Well,
State Department and Defense Department?
You're right. There is a very thin hairline difference between these two statements, but ultimately I see them converging on one end. They are moving, it's a pincer movement kind of a thing, two-pronged, and then converging onto the same thing, and then giving that role to India and making some assistant in there, and then getting out from Afghanistan and running away. That is what the, you know, already a solution to all this problem Pakistan always has been offering, that yes, there should be no involvement of foreign troops presence in Afghanistan. One, India should be denied of using the land, the foreign land in Afghanistan to conspire against Pakistan and its neighbors from Afghanistan. And within Afghanistan must realize the reality of Afghanistan, that if the political solution to Afghan problem is there, then that must be encouraged and it should be put on ground. That means bringing Taliban onto the main line, driving line, and then having elections, and then bringing a new government in Afghanistan. And that government should rule that. So basically what America is doing the same thing. They're trying to say something else to Pakistan so that they keep their presence, you know, the defense should keep, you know, turmoil is there, and they should have some justification to be there. And the State Department on the other hand doesn't want to have a, you know, standoff with Pakistan. They want to resolve their long-standing you know, conflicts with Pakistan. They want to they have realized.
And they have been putting a lot of effort as well.
A lot of effort on that.
In the past.
Absolutely. And they exactly know that also, this is again also very important, that India and Pakistan should also have better relations, because their strand of relations are not going to let America also to have their place what they are, you know, actually demanding for in this region.
So Yasir, we have to end the war business, war economy, the war lordism in Afghanistan. And that is the only solution to Afghanistan. And all the parties, I would say, not just the Afghan warlords, all the parties involved in Afghanistan have to stop war right away if we want peace and stability. If we stop the war, we can certainly move towards a political solution. Do you see this happening in near future?
Well, eventually that is the only option, because 16 years of war in Afghanistan and the longest war in the history of US has not given anything. You know, we don't have any success stories. And if we analyze what are the success stories, what they have achieved, I would say they didn't have achieved anything. Rather, more Talibanization and the more gripping influence of IS's presence in Afghanistan now. Now we are much more concerned about more threats emanating from that land, from Afghanistan. So if it carries on like this, and for that matter, Afghanistan should be more concerned about its peace, as you just mentioned, that for how long a country can be run with war economy, for how long they can have a business which is very short-lived, but eventually in the long run, at the end of the tunnel, they would see more chaos, more turmoil, and more disorder in that country. And then there is another important aspect, that what if US leaves Afghanistan and put Afghanistan in a more ditch, in a more situation where it is more turmoil would be underway, then what would be the situation? There would be a more sort of, you know, we would be more concerned about peace in Afghanistan. So instead of regional players, Afghanistan should realize, Afghanistan should inculcate in their minds that the way towards peace lies with the regional stakeholders, but first Afghanistan must be sincere for its peace in their own domain, for their peace in their own country.
So that is the point. And the point is that for the last 38 years, Afghanistan, people in Afghanistan, they don't know what it feels like having a better, good economy. Yes. They have been into war, and somehow the international powers have patronized them in a way to keep on fighting perpetual wars in Afghanistan. What we are trying now is, Pakistan and China, to make them see what prosperity looks like, what development looks like. For that, to let them see what prosperity and development is, we need conducive environment over there, and that is why Pakistan and China wants to facilitate talks between the different factions in Afghanistan. Do you think that now the solution to the regional peace is with China and Pakistan?
Absolutely. And the kind of situation which you have mentioned in Afghanistan, it's a country or it's a place on earth which has been robbed. It's a place of fortunes and full of fortunes. Like the belt, the same belt in which Baluchistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa also falls in. It's a belt of fortunes. And this fortune belt is definitely known to everyone else in the world as well. So China has done something. I would say that this world must be thankful to China to really change the concept of war to growing economy where the individuals are looked after. And the same must be absolutely practiced in Afghanistan as well, because Afghanistan is a place, if it is not done, then that means the Chinese efforts and the Pakistani efforts alongside with the China is not going to get materialized if there is no peace in Afghanistan. India knows about it, America knows about it. And that is the actual problem, that they need to be convinced that leave this place, leave this area for the development of the humanity. Because India is trying to do what India is doing the same in Kashmir. They're suppressing the Kashmiris for last 70 years. They're not ready to give them even the right of self, plebiscite for that matter. How would they be convinced? This Hindu mindset will never get convinced to have a peace in Afghanistan. So that's the issue.
We'll wind up our program, and before we do that, we'll talk shortly about Khwaja Asif, our foreign minister's visit to China, Iran, United States. How do you evaluate his visits to all these countries and the way he has been presenting Pakistan's case at the international platforms?
I think so. It was very important and it was needed, and it was a right move taken at the right time, because, at any cost, we cannot, digest and we cannot assimilate that Pakistan should be labeled as a terrorist state, as in FPAC policy. In August, it came from the US administration. Now, I think so. It's all the visits are going great guns, and I see a very successful foreign policy, and Pakistan has been playing its card very well, and we are seeing the positive implications and effects. And I'm sure that in coming time, these visits will be much more fruitful as far as Pakistan stance is concerned, because that is the time where Pakistan need to give this message to the entire world that what Pakistan had been through, what Pakistan is going through now, and what are the upcoming challenges. So we are ready on all the fronts, be it diplomatic, be it on strategic level, and be it on individual level, which Pakistan has sacrificed over the years. And it is very important that the world should know that Pakistan was up against multifaceted challenges, and now all the challenges are beyond us.
Mr. Ehsan, please comment on these 2 points. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Shahid Khan Abbasi, he was very straightforward at UNGA that we won't become the scapegoat, his words were, and failed strategy in Afghanistan. So very clear and very straightforward. And second thing is, the way Khwaja Asif, our foreign minister, he has been very, I would say, frank, straightforward, diplomatic as well, with our American friends. How do you see these two gentlemen and their statements in the United States?
I think very brilliantly they have done it, and I think the Pakistan stance has been Pakistan has been projected very well in this way, and Pakistan has got nothing to hide, because this is the strength which we have, and we have shown our strength and we have shown our cards. This is what we have done, and we are not going to accept now this, because of the reason that we have done it. That's why we are saying all that. The strength is there. Unless we would not have done it, we could not have actually asked for it. Now, since we have done it, we are so honest, open, and we are trying to tell everyone.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us, Mr. Ashram Rashid.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you.
Mr. Yasir Masood, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Today we discussed about Pakistan and US relations, and also Pakistan's commitment to fight extremism and terrorism, and Pakistan's recent, I would say, military operations speak volumes about Pakistan's commitment to the issue of counter-terrorism. We have been fighting them. We also expect that our Afghan friends should also reciprocate what Pakistan has been doing. We want them to eliminate terrorist organizations like Jamaatul Ahrar and their heads, and TTP over there, who operate freely in Afghanistan. If we want peaceful South Asia, we need peaceful Afghanistan, and we hope that our American friends, Afghan friends, would also work jointly with Pakistan, will collaborate to defeat extremism and terrorism in the region. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.